I am a woman in love with Nico Raskin and Connor Barron, Mo Diamandi, and Big Soapy Suitor, Václav Cherny with the goals. Hamza Egerman, hands off ya bitch, he's mine. How you doing, folks? Look at the thickness of that, eh? The book. I'm in a different room. Yes, I'm in the library. You'll notice this is what I do on a Saturday when Rangers aren't playing. Particularly when we've had the tumultuous week that we've just had, all down in the dumps last Saturday, all far too high and excited on Thursday night. I think it's a bit uncouth. It's not very intellectually stimulating, is it? The conversation you get in the stands at Ibrox. Really, I'm a better kind of person than most of you. So what I'll do is I'll come in here of a non-match day just to try and get back into that intellectual space that I naturally inhabit when away from the football. And what I'll do is I'll take some of the Penguin classics up there and I'll bend the spines. I'll go like that and bend the spines so that folk will come in and think, well, I've actually been reading them, you know. You seen the size of Mill on the floss? Jesus, I'm no way I'm reading that, by the way. But yeah, it's nice to get away from the football. I thought I'd bring you in here just to share in my life because that's the kind of guy I am. A bit like Nietzsche, I think, through the character of Zarathustra and Thus Spake Zarathustra, when he's talking about having, like a bee that's gathered too much honey and need to come down into the world and share it. He's an intellectual up in the mountain of knowledge and needs to come down amongst the plebs and start dishing out some of the wiseness, what he has learned. And to that end, what I will also do when I've read all these books, every single one of them, from cover to cover, or sometimes 2 or 3 times. I've memorised them all as well. I know all the words inside them. Some of them are like 5, 6 syllables long, the words, and I know them. And what I'll do is I'll put it in my diary. My diary here, diary, monogram, philosophical treatise. It's difficult to actually judge this. It's genre defining, probably, I would say, more than anything else. Maxims, poems, intellectual stuff. This could be mined, I think, for 2 or 3 scripts for stage and screen, and I've agreed to leave it to the Bodleian in the case of my assisted dying, which I'm told is going to be quite soon. But what I want to do now, folks, just to help you calm down from the kind of roller coaster of emotions we've been. That's a fucking cliche, roller coaster of emotions. Jesus, I must have been reading like a detective novel or something to pick that up. Roller coaster of emotions. I really need to stick to the Penguin classics. I'm going to share with you some of my notes here. This one is taken. I've written this down in a Hemingway style. What about the Hemingway, Alec? Yeah, a big chat about the Hemingway the other night in your pod. We noticed that you were reading out an actual Hemingway book, but we only saw one Hemingway book. You're giving it, oh, I know him inside out. Well, I know it's a different room. I've got the Hemingway. There's a different Hemingway library. This is the main library, but down the hall, at the north side of the house, just where the scullery maids are, just next to that's the Africa room. And in there, I've got the Hemingway library. Snows of Kilimanjaro. It seems kind of appropriate, but it's by the time you've got all his novels, and then you've got all his kind of poetry. He never wrote poetry. But then you've got his short stories, and you've got like, some of the scripts that he did, and his collections of letters and what have you. It takes up quite a bit. I mean, especially when you start buying some of the biographies. Some of the books that have been written about him. I mean, I think we're getting to the stage where there's almost as many words written about Papa Hemingway has been written about Napoleon or Wagner or Jesus Christ himself. Yeah. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to just share with you some of the things that I like to read and some of the inspiration that gives me in my own literary endeavours. Wash this beastie down the plug, or try to help out the little bug. Eek! Jings! What's wrong with Ma? There's a spider in the bath. Ach, is that all? Ha ha, imagine being feared of a wee spider. Wow, look at the size of it. I think it's in there for a bath. Just wash it down the plug hole, Willie. Ma will maybe give you extra money for sweeties. No, William, we must be helpful to all the little creatures of this world. He's getting like the angel one side and like the wee devil on the other side. It's like Hannah Arendt, and her dealings with Heidegger, tutor, and also her lover, but she's Jewish and he became a Nazi and stuff like that. So we're really into the same kind of level of stuff here when the philosophical books that I'm into. So yeah, I'll maybe just carry on in a different vein, folks. The seats, so many of them on show, so pink looking en masse. En masse, that's French, like en route, which is what we've been to a European final the last couple of times we played Lyon at Ibrox in Europe. Are those seats sunblasted? Are they sunblasted pink? No, the deep red corresponding with half the stripes on the home team shirt is reduced to a radiant circular glob in the underside of an upturned seat, subsumed into the, what is that, white of the front, of the back of the seat. Is it cushioned? These seats go up to shoulder height, like the back of modern substitute and coaching staff seats, like gamer seats, like incel wanking chariots, because the top tiers are empty. 3 tiers in a stadium that holds less than Ibrox, and the top tiers tucked between the biggest tiers, the middle tiers, and the eaves of the roof. They look beyond pink. They look flesh-coloured, like the seats in La Cartuja, Seville, the city where we've made 2 kinds of history across the 2 other stadiums. Seville, city of oranges, also to the south of that country, the country to the south of the country that we're currently in Nice. The police aren't nice. They are, see you next Thursdays, just as they are in Spain. And these upturned empty seats look like your sister's board of upturned Guess Who characters. They look like the red side of the coloured dice used for, what was it, Twister? It was for another kids' game. It was a white dice, but there wasn't numbers. On one side it was a yellow spot. Another side it was a green circular spot. And the other side it was a blue spot. Blue, Rangers in all blue with nutmeg. Anybody here have an allergy to nutmeg? Because we're sprinkling it all over tonight's serving, tonight's cold serving. It's a dish best served cold serving, not a dice. This is a bottle, and we ain't gamblers, we're magicians, tricksters. Do you see it? Do you see it in front of your feet? No, now it's through your feet, behind you, and we've got it. Our fans paid big money to get harassed by continental police, have done for decades. So you, in that case, can get paid big money by your 5th place in a Big 5 domestic league club to get battered by Rangers on the park. You're a francophone. We fought Franco. When he was just over that border from you, we fought Franco. Our fans fought the Garda Civil. We know how to deal with bullies, and they remember us 50 years later because we humiliated them. You show the ref your scars. You whinge at the ref. We'll open you up and then open you up some more, and then we'll bring on a 5'0" left back who's played for 20 minutes in 3 months, and we've put him on the back post, and we're going to put him outside left as well at corners, and then we'll bring on a 12-year-old who hasn't played for us the first team since he was 10 years old, and in between stroking it about majestically like his senior teammates, he'll maybe give you a chance to dive for a free kick at the edge of our box and a consolation in the dying embers of this game. But you'll know we stepped off. You'll remember Raskin and Barron and Diamandi and Sterling, Bajrami, Cherny and Igaman. Igaman, a lad from a country you invaded once. Like Tommy Como at the Debonair Social Club telling Joe Pesci the raging bull is making him look bad with some very important people because he just won't get on board with the mob. You can't supply a kid from your own neighbourhood. And this kid broke you. Remember that. And I know you'll never forget the 2 minutes between the first 2 goals where you took centre again but couldn't get out your own half, summed up by that Raskin tackle telling you to get back in your box. And the 10 minutes between the second and third goal where you eventually won an actual corner, but then Raskin snapped it off you and stopped the ball dead and rolled it along the underside of his studs to show it to you, and then gave it to Dio for a nutmegged 1-2, another break upon you, and you curled up and cried, and then you had shots and corners at the start of the second half with your second sub on and your ultras behind your home end goal, and we took the ball off you again and nutmegged you again and scored again, and au revoir, bonsoir, merci, pour fuck all, and nice to see ye, nice. I got a bit carried away. The reason I'm in the old dead alive, it's just 3 bookcases, folks. The reason I'm in this, you knew that anyway, I'm saying that as if I'm actually no intellectual, like you need to be told that, and that's what's a bit overexcitement. It's a bit overexcitable with that result the other night. I ended up doing an hour-long post-match reaction pod. Thanks a million, by the way, for everybody that took the time to watch it, and for all the brilliant feedback. It's been great chatting away with folks. I'm sorry if there's anything not get back to it. I'm going to try and get back to you before kick-off tomorrow in Perth. It's just I'm just taking breaks to eat stuff. I'm only stopping to eat stuff and do more pods, but I realised it was an hour long, that post-match reaction pod. I thought, that's no fair. The least I can do is go and just try and break it up. I just discovered recently, I'm obviously, you can see that everything still is back to front. I don't know how to work recording equipment or anything. But I just discovered recently that you can do the thing where you can break your pods up into chapters. And I'm the person in the world not doing 90-minute pods and stuff like that most needs to know that is possible. So I went in to break up into wee chapters of just whatever different subjects I'm talking about, so you can skip past all the stuff that you're not interested in and just go in and out about it instead of having to watch the whole hour if you're not that way inclined. But that meant I had to watch it again, and that's what I discovered. Oh my God, I was talking at like 2 miles an hour. It's because I was shattered. I was absolutely. I'd taken a whitey. I'd taken the Rangers podding equivalent of a whitey. I was totally blissed out, and it's obvious. Obviously, because there's been too much kind of really stolid domestic fare this season. I've been like too sober, if you know what I mean. And then suddenly it was a total binge of bevy. It was the kind of equivalent of, remember, folk my age might remember Sid Vicious came out of jail, and him and Nancy straight to a party, and it had the drugs he had. Heroin, I imagine, would be in there, were too pure compared to the stuff he'd been having in prison. Prison drugs, just knocking up whatever they could put together. And that was him. He was a goner, like assisted dying for Sid. I think I was telling people during that pod, look, we need to take this result and just use it to chill out. Use it to relax. There's no stress yet about going back to the domestic stuff at Perth on Sunday. Let's just take this moment in time. This is a singular result. This is one we'll look back on without knowing anything about the context. What season was that? What did we do the rest of that season? I just remember that night we went to Nice and we pumped him before it could have been 8 or 9. I'm telling folk to chill out, but I'm actually doing it. I'm actually, unbeknownst to me, I was chilling out while I was doing it. I was just totally exhausted. The minute I posted that pod, I went straight to sleep. Usually I'm kind of, after a big result like that, absolutely buzzing. Don't get to sleep till 3 or 4 in the morning, so I could do 3 or 4 pods, but this one I got it posted. I'm sitting in the eyes, actually straight away I was falling asleep. So I'm in here to kind of new surroundings, new chair, kind of farty noises if I'm moving the leather chair, just to try and, because I'm going to have to batter out a quick pod here. By the time this goes out, it's going to be like midnight Saturday, and the game kicks off at noon on Sunday. The third time I played St Johnstone this season, and we've had some cracking kick-off times against them. So this is Saturday night, Sunday night, and now we're going Sunday brunch time. But I just want to kind of pick myself up again. Hopefully I can make this one a wee bit snappier for you guys. This is your Fat Eck. Rangers are going from the kind of everybody you fancy is, jumping into bed beside you naked. They just want you. You're scoring goals for Scotland against England at Wembley. You're scoring goals for Rangers against Celtic at Parkhead, and running up to the jungle type of dream scenario of what happened in Nice. Back to you're naked in your work, and folk are throwing balloons at you, and every time you try to hit them away you can't, because your arms are made of string. Nightmare scenario of domestic football. Preview pod coming to you in association with Jersnet. Check out Jersnet last night. It was Colin and John. They were doing supposedly a preview of the St Johnstone game tomorrow, but they were just blissed out as well. They're just enjoying what happened in the Côte d'Azur on Thursday night. So that's well worth a watch. Check that out. I'm sponsored by them, and I'm also sponsored by BJ's on Alvarado. My brother Richard's going to meet there 2 a.m. Be there, Vincent. All right, I'll be there as well. Yeah, last Saturday almost, I'm standing outside Ibrox, and I'm talking about how I just wanted to, after having watched that game against Dundee United, I just wanted to get up the road and watch a Nicholas Winding Refn film. This Saturday I went back and I looked at the chapter headings I was putting in for the post-match reaction pod to the win in Nice were things like scent of blood, jugular vein, going for the kill, game over. So basically, everything I didn't get last Saturday, I got on Thursday night. I hope there's a little bit left over for tomorrow. Basically, Rangers have gone in the last 2 games from... If Rangers are Albert Brooks, the actor and comedian Albert Brooks, they've gone from his role in Taxi Driver, where he's basically the best he manages, kind of ushering Travis Bickle out the door away from Sybil Shepherd in broad daylight, to playing the cold gangland killer who puts a fork straight through a guy's eye after having brought down the blinds, and the blind, fork through the eye, blinds down, that kind of thing. In Drive, the film Drive, he's basically we've gone from a kind of 4 syllables Taxi Driver, 4 syllables of building, mounting, slow burn violence, and we've reduced that to 1 syllable Drive of instant and constant fatal violence. Although I think Ryan Gosling doesn't actually die at the end of Drive, despite suffering a few stab wounds. Don't want to ruin that for you there. But yeah, my name's Alec Anderson, so as sure as the sun will shine, I'm gonna get my share, now what's mine. And the harder they come, the harder they fall, one and all. I'm a pussycat, right? But I need my team to get it done. Because I'm such a wimp in real life, I like to see my team I'm not really bothered about fancy football, tricks and what have you, but I just like to see them getting the job done. I like them to be industrious. I like them to be merciless. And we missed chances the other night. We did miss chances, but we did the scoring in a kind of 25-minute spell. 20 minutes according to the clock, but actual 25 minutes when you throw in first half injury time, which straddled the interval, straddled the half-time break. And that's a disemboweling. That's a disemboweling to go 3-0 up in like 10 minutes before half-time, and then 4-0 up like 9 minutes into the second half. It's a disemboweling akin to Mads Mikkelsen in Valhalla Rising, where I was talking about this last Saturday. That's the thing. I was actually describing this in last Saturday's post-match reaction pod to the Dundee United game. I was just going to go up the road and I was going to watch Valhalla Rising, where he takes the arrowhead and just cuts the guy's gut open and pulls his intestines out and throws them on the floor because I was so bloody sick. Only God forgives or something. I just wanted to see somebody who knows how to do it to the opposition. And then on Thursday night, we got it. If you're going to if you insist on being stuck in that room watching the Nice game back again and again and again, instead of like maybe reading some of the books that your wife's read, I would just cut straight to, I would say, not even the first goal. Just go to when Nice takes centre after the first goal. I've written down the times here. They take centre. They kick off again after Rangers go 1-0 up on 35 minutes and 35 seconds. 35. By 35-40, they can't get out their own half. They try a couple of times just to get the ball over the halfway line, and we're just pinging it back. By 35-49, number 49, Igaman has dispossessed their right back again, and we're putting the ball into the box and blah, blah, blah. And we just keep hitting. They cannot get out. Their manager, who's standing there, the fellas had terrible problems with the migraines, terrible problems in the old brain area in the head, so we don't want to be too hard on him, but maybe that's why he had to, because bad eyesight can cause, if you don't get the right kind of strength of specs, that can cause the migraines. So he's got the Dennis Taylor specs on there, but I can't help it, he's looking like the love child of Edward Woodward playing the Equaliser and Bubbles for Trailer Park Boys. And he's standing there, the camera cuts to him at one point, and Nice managed to get it out for a shy at one point, but we're just pinging it straight back to him. It's a relentless, it's not even 2 minutes. 35-35 they kick off, and it is 37-30 when Diamande tucks the ball round their goalkeeper with that beautiful finish as the ball's bouncing back up. He catches it and puts it back down the way and across the way. It's just it's like he knows he's actually kicking the ball away from the goalkeeper, because back the way almost, because he knows the momentum, the general momentum of the ball from the ball from Dujon Sterling. It wasn't a corner, and Thursday I was thinking maybe it was a corner, it was just a cross from open play. He knows it's going to drift back in, it's going to pull it back into the goal, just get it away from the keeper and it'll go back. It's a beautiful goal, but it's less than 2 minutes, and there's a bit, what time is it? I don't know what time, Raskin tackle, 37-10. So it's 20 seconds before the ball goes over the line. They've kicked off again at 35-35, and at 37-10 there's one brief moment where Nice think they're going to get out. They think they're going to escape this vice-like grip we've got them under, and they ping the ball to a fella who's, I don't know if he's a centre-half or a sitting midfielder, who bolts. He just bolts forward as far as he can get. He gets to within like maybe 30 yards of the halfway line, and Nico Raskin comes in and bodies him. but he spins into him. Nico, he's not the biggest guy in the world, Nico, so he spins into him and basically tackles him with both feet, but wins the ball. And there's no foul. That ref was good the other night. I know we did the scare with the penalty. But he ended up being pretty good. He let that game flow, and Nico Raskin was full flow. He was phenomenal. That was a singular moment. The way it's like, get back in your box. You are going nowhere until we get this second goal, and we get the second goal, and that ends up, was it 5 minutes or something like that of injury time at the end of the first half. And this is the St Johnstone preview. Sorry, we get the second goal. And it's basically, I think it ends up being the best part of 10 minutes before we get the third goal, even though it's before half time. And at that point, Nice actually managed to get the ball forward a few times, and they get a corner. Now, I don't know if what you've got, I've got Virgin TV, and you do that thing where I've recorded the game, I'd set to record the game long before Thursday. So I've got that way, if you fast forward and you get the wee white, the wee bit along the bottom, it tells you kind of roughly how far you are through a recording. I think it's the fourth white bar. If you just do that thing, you click, along, was it 20-minute segments? It goes clunk, clunk, clunk. Just go along to the fourth white bar, and it's right there. It's really handy, really easy to get to. When they take the corner, it gets kind of, it gets repelled really, but they get the ball. They get a second chance to get the ball into our box, and I think it's dead on. It's like almost 42 minutes exactly. And they whip this ball into the box, and it's practically on the penalty spot. It's a great ball. And I think John Souttar goes up for it, but Nico Raskin, who is half the size of John Souttar, he goes up for it as well and wins it. I mean, they've got like centre half and all that coming onto that ball, Nice, and Nico Raskin goes up and he wins that ball. He chases it out the box. They've got a guy desperately running forward, attacking midfielder, running forward to try and get onto the end of this ball that's been cleared out from a corner, basically. And Raskin gets to it first, and he does that thing where he stands on it. He just briefly stands on it, and he puts his body into between the ball and this oncoming player, and he just shows him it. He briefly shows him it, but he's also shown it to Diamandi, who's bolting out beside him, and him and Dio it's like, I've got this guy. Raskin lays it off to Dio, and Dio, it might be a nutmeg. I think he just puts it around the side of him. It goes around the side, and it's a 1-2. They just play this 1-2, and it was one of the moments. This is sublime. This is absolutely phenomenal. Nico Raskin in particular. I don't even want to say particular because there's so many players all night. They were absolutely tremendous. But God, we needed that result. We needed that result and that performance, like a drunk on the last train home needs a kebab. Basically, we needed that result and performance like a hungover booze bag from a Saturday night needs a kind of full fry up Sunday brunch time. Tomorrow, however, at McDermott, at Mickey D's, at the drive-through football stadium, we need a domestic away win. Like a sinking ship needs a lifeboat. We need a domestic away performance, like a burning house needs a fire engine. We need a win and a performance away from home domestically, like a kind of, dying on its arse party needs a couple of crates of German beer and a fucking good DJ just to get things really going again. We need to get our second domestic away win of the season. Quite a damning statistic the other night from Super Ali when he said at the start of the second half, we've just scored more goals in the first half at Nice than we've scored away from home domestically all season. So I'm getting a bit emotional about the game the other night, but I'm about to get really emotional when I'm talking about options tomorrow. Because there's not been a press conference. We don't. That's one thing about European games, just that we don't get a presser, a pre-match presser. The match before the domestic game on the Sunday, but we've got three options at striker. I never thought that would happen. You've got three different guys who could actually come in and play as striker, and I'm including Dessers has got 10 goals this season. Never mind writing off Big Cyril. Never mind that miss he had the other night. At least he was in the right place. He did the controlling the ball thing perfectly. Just, you've got to miss them to score them. But we have got three options for striker tomorrow. Danilo coming back. Danilo and Hadji not in the European squad, so they're coming back in as options tomorrow at McDermott. But to have three strikers, and maybe Dessers is last on the list. Man, absolutely sensational the other night. He announced himself, he has arrived. 1.5 million, was it? Well worth it. And we know our manager doesn't want to put anybody into that first team until they're absolutely ready. That's how he's keeping the injuries down. But then Danilo, he scored at McDermott Park, and that's basically he got his face fractured while he was doing it. That was one of his major injuries, Danilo, but he has scored at McDermott against St Johnstone, so he's there as well. I genuinely don't know who's going to start. I don't know if it's Egaman, it's that kind of thing. He's young, so let's incubate him, let's keep it. I would maybe give him another go and just see if the buzz of Thursday night is still, there's a surfeit there that he can tap into tomorrow. Get us a couple of goals early doors or something like that. Just any goal. We just don't score goals away from home at all. So anybody who can score. But it's absolutely fantastic to have that option now. And maybe that's what the manager's been talking about. In terms of just needs a bit of time. I know Rangers don't get time. We don't have time and what have you. And you know the league's gone and all that. But as I'm going to say, I've been saying it every week. I was expecting a rebuild, and one thing we need to do though is get ourselves an away win. But it doesn't surprise me it's taken so long for these players to come to the fore. But it also doesn't surprise me that they have come to the fore. Really interesting scenario we've got. It's a kind of knock-on scenario started by Yilmaz. Played 20 minutes against United last Saturday. Comes off the bench the other night. And again, I might have mentioned this in the post-match reaction pod. A lot of people almost complaining because they're so used to complaining about Rangers this season. A lot of Rangers fans talking about how we should have scored 7 or 8. The minute we went, sorry, that's absolutely wrong because it's 8 minutes later. It was not the minute we went 4-0 up. We went 4-0 up early in the second half. It was about 54th minute, and it's the 62nd minute the manager starts making subs. He's given it another few minutes just to see are they going to come at us all guns blazing? And I was describing that incident where Egaman fell over himself. Basically, hadn't been fouled or anything, but Nice were more than happy to put the ball out for about the 64th minute or whatever because they just wanted the game to stop. Every time they tried to attack us, we were scoring against them. So the manager sussed that out for a bit, and he starts making substitutions. We end up with Bailey Rice on the park as well. Really young player. So I think a lot of the misses we're getting, we get Raskin coming on and getting through the middle and stuff like that through own goal. He's a left back. But it was good. The manager wasn't worried about self-aggrandising and making it a great night for himself by racking up a major scoreline. He was just, as soon as he knew the game was done, that it was won, the points were in the bag, let's get other players. Let's get a bit of the rust out of Tav's legs. Let's get Bailey Rice some experience. Let's get Yilmaz played again. He's looking towards Sunday straight away. He's focused. He knows what he's doing. But I think we're in a situation where Nico Raskin has, if he comes in and was to play at left back, that could let Hefty go up and play wide left. Or is Raskin at wide left? Is that now going to be a thing? Is that almost a bit like the Kassan Weirdo swapping with Tav earlier in the season, letting Tav go up and play wide right? I don't know. Hefty has been putting himself about so much. What a shift he put in the other night. Maybe he's due a rest as well. But we're at that point of the season now. The whole point, I'll finish that point. The whole point is that if Yilmaz is to come in and it would let Hefty go wide left, you then get Bajrami can come in and play 10. Because he was doing that the other night anyway. He's been doing that in Bajrami. He will just come right across. He's not holding the wide left position. Super Ali was picking him up on his defensive frailties, his unwillingness to come back. He's not working back the way Bajrami, but he's working across the way all the time. He's drifting right over the other wing. He's making himself available, and we benefit from it. So I would like to see him. The only time he's played at 10, if I remember correctly, since he arrived, Bajrami, is against St Johnstone in that league game at Ibrox where Cherry scored the 2 goals. So, but like Bajrami, it also worries me that he's since arrived. It's a big move for him. I know players should arrive ready to go. If he's good enough, he shouldn't have any problems off field. He doesn't have any problems off field, I wouldn't imagine. It's just worries me that a massive move for him culturally as much as anything else, and he really has been used non-stop. He's barely got a break, so I don't know. But this applies to everybody tomorrow. That's why it wouldn't surprise me if it's just the same starting 11 tomorrow, because everybody. This is the spine of the season. This run, this phase we're on. The next time we get a break midweek is after the cup final. It's when our new CEO starts. We get the cup final, and then the next that week there's no one to play midweek. There's no European games. There's no domestic games midweek. And I know we've got Kilmarnock coming up on Wednesday night as well at Ibrox, and that'll be a hard game. But at what point do we actually let everybody just play? Get a team together. It's just we can put the same 11 out 3 or 4 times a week, because the cup final is it's a fortnight away, isn't it? So it's not really a massively long spell So this is the kind of spine of the season. This is the bit where you've got to build up real momentum. Hopefully start catching Aberdeen as well. Apart from anything else, Celtic looking uncatchable. But I don't know about. I think we're maybe at this point in the season resting players. I'm not sure it's such a great idea. I don't think we should be, to be honest. Excuse me, except for guys who are coming back from injuries. It's like Igaman's too young, Yilmaz has been out for too long, Tav's too old, and that kind of stuff. Everybody's going to be mucking in now. This is the bit. If you can't be there for the season from like 1st of December as it is tomorrow to the end of January, say, then there's really no point in being in the team and being in our squad. You're just taking up space. But we're off to McDermott on a bit of a high. There's a funeral parlour. There used to be a funeral parlour. If you know Annie's Land, the way I know Annie's Land, just where the Domino's is, that used to be BJ's the Boozer. On the corner there, it's the old Crow Road, goes up past the library. There's a bank on the right hand side. There's a Wally Hills in there. I know the big block of flats. It's actually a listed building. There used to be a funeral parlour. It was only the day that I walked down there from Morrison's, and I noticed it's like a kids play. Even a kids play area. You hire it out to kids for parties. Folk want to have birthday parties for their wains. So it used to be all like black, obviously, and it was very, very sombre, and you couldn't see in the windows. I walked past the day, it's all like pink and white writing up the top. I don't know what it's called, twinkles or something like that. And you look inside, and it's just absolutely jumping, with flashing lights, music, a whole lot of dads walking about looking embarrassed, a whole lot of mothers walking about looking harassed, and a whole lot of Waynes just going absolutely mental. And that's basically domestic football. We're the funeral parlour. European football, we turn into the Wayne's gone mental in a big bright pink and white room with lots of music jumping. So we've got to maintain. Let's just keep it. Let's park the funeral parlour vibe tomorrow, Rangers. Let's go out there and enjoy ourselves. And because St Johnstone aren't doing particularly well, this is going to be the third different stadium we've played them in this season. We've already beaten them 2-0 at each of two different stadiums this season, in two different competitions against two different managers. Simo Valakari now in, taking over from Craig Levine, and I think he was in the stand at Ibrox that night we played them in the league. Ibrox beat them 2-0 with the two Václav Černý goals, but he became officially manager after that, and they thumped Ross County, I think 3-0 in his first game properly in charge, and then they went on a run of four straight losses. So the new manager bounce wasn't exactly colossal for the Finnish guy coming in there as manager, ex-Motherwell player, but they beat Kilmarnock last week, I think, when we were drawn with Dundee United. So the losses that were taken out were all by a single goal. They lost 3-1 at St Mirren, I think, but that was it. It was mostly just single goal losses. So it's hard to know how things are going for him, really. They're stuck in 9th place. Simo Valakari, the manager, obviously, there's obviously the cultural thing as well. He's probably getting hate mail from St Johnstone fans because Finland held the Scotland women's team to a draw at Easter Road last night. But we'll get him in that return leg, and better for his sake. Also, I'm hoping we're hounding him out the country to get ourselves to the World Cup, the Euros. Sorry, but they're in 9th place just now. St Johnstone, I think they're only 3 or 4 points at best in front of Hearts. Maybe Hibs, a big win the day, so they'll be catching up with them as well. One loss and they're already in the cusp of the. Or maybe they're down to 10th now, actually, because Kilmarnock drew today. So I think they were below them. They go a point above them. Temporarily anyway. So another loss for them, and they are properly down amongst the relegation fodder. But for ourselves, we've got Dundee United up our arse now. They're level on points. But I think if Dundee United who won 2-0 today against St Mirren, if they'd scored another goal, I think they'd have gone above us in the league. We'd be down to 4th. We've played a couple of games less than United, but that's that. Last week's game still embarrassing us. I don't know. I don't know. If you had the choice, we want to go out tomorrow and just pump them. We need to turn around our domestic form, especially away from home. But if you knew that we're actually going to go on and win the Europa League, would you? Right, okay, no winning it, get to the final again. Because every time we play Lyon, every time we get beat by Lyon at Ibrox in Europe, we get to a final. Every time the final's in Spain, it's in Bilbao. You know what I mean? We get to a final. I want to get back to Bilbao. I want to find out if Rangers, the first time we played Athletic Bilbao, that was the quarter-finals the quarterfinals of the 68-69 Fairs Cup. We get put out in the semi-final by Newcastle, bit of a riot down at St James's Park. I don't know why the polo skiers are hard. But we played them in the quarterfinals that year. Did we put flowers? Did we put a bouquet of flowers down at the bust of Pichichi? Rafael Moreno. He scored in Antwerp. Pichichi, the top scorer award in Spain in La Liga, it's called the Pichichi. He died at 29 years old, but he went to the Olympics, it was a Spain full international team, in 1920, and then hardcore fans of this pod of mine will remember me talking about that Antwerp stadium. It's in Antwerp, the birthplace of the city of our manager, and it was Beerschot's stadium, Beerschot, where Philip Clement began his playing career and ended his playing career. Pichichi, he scored there, and the tradition was that new teams going to San Mamés, the old San Mamés would take flowers there. I did the tour of San Mamés. I was talking about that during the week. I can't remember if I saw the bust. I must have my photograph taken with it, but I can't find the photographs anywhere. But I would like to know. I think they've got it outside the players' dressing rooms now. So I'd like to know if we have to put a bouquet of flowers down there next to it, because we went to the old San Mamés, but this is the new San Mamés. I don't want to play Athletic Bilbao. I want to be back in the final. But if the choice was you could finish third, right? And the time Rangers won a European trophy. The one time Rangers won a European trophy, 71-72, we finished third in the league behind Celtic in first and Aberdeen in second. If you could be guaranteed we'd at least get to the final, you'd take the gamble. I don't know if we're going to win it or not. We'll finish in third place and just suck all the energy we need for that run from our domestic form. And if we win the final, then that's it. We'd go straight into the Champions League group stages, and we'd get that's something you cannot do through even winning the Scottish title this season. And it'd be great to just sit there during the summer and watching Celtic and Aberdeen struggling to get through the playoff round and the second and third qualifying round to try and get into the Champions League group stages. That would be absolutely fantastic. Listen, we're a European. I know you're laughing, but we're a European finalist club. Maybe that's just what happened. I'm coloured by. We're all coloured by the era in which we grow up. Those formative years from like primary school to get out and start to work, whatever. And it's just something I talk about endlessly as well. It's basically fever pitch. That's what fever pitch is all about. Nick Hornby, but I'm looking today at the table, and it's Celtic first, Aberdeen second, Rangers third, Dundee United fourth. And it's like, 1983 or something, 1984. How are you? I'm right back 40 years in my life. That's what I grew up with. That's what I knew. But maybe it's because I grew up in the biggest period Rangers have had between European finals. We got to European final 61, another in 67. When we won the Cup in 72, that was our third European final in 11 years. Now, there was 14 years. If you imagine that, 14 years between us getting to Manchester and getting to Seville. We got to 3 European finals in that period. Maybe it's because I grew up, I couldn't remember 72, I was only 2-3 years old at the time. So it was the longest thing ever for me. I was, just coming up to 39 when we got to Manchester, and it was the biggest thing in my life to actually see us finally getting to a European final, far less just putting in regular European performances as we have been since basically coming back up. After Pedro's humiliation against Progress Niederkorn, it's almost like that was we had to plummet that low so we could then earn the right to the amazing consistency we've showed since then, which included a European final. And within that run we've had since Pedro Caixinha left in European football, that run of stability, it was a 7-1 home defeat by Liverpool. Well, that team of the 60s into the early 70s got to 3 successes. It was never the same team, but there was a couple of guys played. There's a few guys played in 2 of the finals, but we went over to the Bernabeu and get stuffed, 6-0 over there, and they beat us 1-0 at home. So and Eintracht Frankfurt famously destroyed us, the biggest ever semi-final defeat for anybody in Europe. So there was a couple of wee humiliations in there, and amongst consistently getting to European finals. Maybe Rangers are a European final club because it's just my years, the years that I grew up in, the big gap between European finals. It's blinded me to that. Get to final 2008, another final in 2022. Maybe this is just what we do. Willie Waddle sacrificed the year we won the Winners' Cup. Waddle knew that we had to win a European trophy. We had to at least get a European trophy. With Celtic having become the first Scottish club to get a European trophy. That was a monkey we had to get off our back. And that season we were terrible domestically. We've actually done better than that because we've got to a League Cup final. Didn't reach either of the the cup finals, got beaten in the semi-final by Hibs in the Scottish Cup, and in the League Cup, I don't think we got out the section. It was the old sectional group, and Celtic beat us twice in the League Cup section group that season, and it was it's basically like summer football, like a bit like what they're doing with the teams who don't qualify for Europe from Scotland in the League Cup just now. And Celtic, because they were rebuilding the main stand, they're kind of redeveloping Parkhead a bit. They played their home game at Ibrox. So we had the return game also at Ibrox, and then like September-ish we played them in the league at Ibrox. So Celtic beat us 3 times at Ibrox in the space of about 2 months, a month and a half or something. At the beginning of the 71-72 season, they beat us at Parkhead in January in the New Year game as well. So they beat us 4 times that season. Aberdeen finished above us in the league. We didn't get to either cup final. It was awful, and then we go and win an only European trophy, which is remembered. It wasn't remembered the way it should have been at the time. It took a wee while, but it's something worth doing. And I personally, just now, I would sacrifice everything domestically to get ourselves back to another European final. I'm already really proud of the fact that we have been to as many European finals as the rest of Scottish football combined. But there you go. We're off to the kind of Lego, the mini Ibrox without the corners and without the blue seats, having replaced the coloured seats yet, and without the club deck, the kind of out of town drive-through football. Do you want salad? I'll use the salad to cover up where the grass should be at McDermott tomorrow, and we want to win. We want a wee break. I'm almost scared to break the routine because it'll mean Spurs probably scalp us at Ibrox, or we don't, because we're next away game. That's the thing. This run of Clement's, I'm not losing an away game. We've only got one more away game in this group stage, and it's at Old Trafford. How great would it be for somebody my age, anybody who knows anything about football, to go to Old Trafford and beat Man United, have a chance to do it. They'll be all gone blazing by that point. The new manager will have them firing on all cylinders by the time we get down there, no doubt. But look, we're 8th in this league just now, the Europa League. We're basically getting 2 points a game. The other night I was talking about how we're dropping just over a point per game on average in the SPFL Premiership, but we're averaging 2 points a game. We're getting 2 points a game. We've played 5 games now in the Europa League and we're on 10 points. It's the same thing, Alec. It's just because in Scotland you emphasise the loss, and in Europe you're emphasising the gain. We're averaging 2 points a game in any league scenario. We're on 23 points just now for 12 games played in the SPFL Premiership, but we're 8th. We're 3 points off the top. Lazio are 3 points ahead of us at the top of that league. There's about 4 other teams on 10 points roundabout, as one of them being Spurs, one being Lyon, one being, I think, Sloy Bucharest as well. It's really strange. But it shows you that we're not that far away when it comes to going all the way. And we've got the experience. We're a club that's just now used to getting to European finals in the modern era. I think it's something we should stop talking about. I like people want to know about St Johnstone tomorrow. Pretty straightforward. I don't have a clue who's going to play. I don't know what the manager's going to do in terms of team selection. I would be happy not to change a thing from the other nights, but I could see a scenario where, for some reason, I've got it in my head that the man who most needs rested will be Nadim Bajrami. And because we can get Hadji in to play at 10, not that Bajrami ever plays, has ever played at 10, apart from that one game against St Johnstone at Ibrox. But it's a Diamandi. It's becoming a problem for Diamandi. I don't know. I feel as if he's naturally a box-to-box player. There was the fella sitting next to me at Ibrox last week during the United nightmare. He was saying, Diamandi's garbage. He's terrible. I said, he's not a bad player though. He's, where are you playing him? And I'm saying, I think he's better as a sitting midfielder, if anything. But he has scored goals from the 10 position, and he scored one of them at McDermott Park. So he knows this, he could go in there tomorrow and play at 10. But I think he is more of a kind of destroyer. He likes to go in. The way he was playing the other night, he was basically, even the goal he scores, it's like he's getting in behind a defender because he's getting to the ball first and he's kind of putting the ball away from the goalkeeper. You don't see him sitting there spraying passes about. We've got Czerny in there who's replaced the additional goals that we were getting from Tom Lawrence when he wasn't really performing in the 10 position either. Wasn't he brilliant at it, but at least he was getting goals to compensate for when Dessers wasn't. So we're getting that from Czerny now. That's kind of overlapped with Lawrence's goal contribution. But I don't see Diamandi being kind of spraying it about, but he also looks in games the other night, like in Europe, in front of Barron and Raskin, who are peerless. It was like in Piraeus as well. Diamandi is just brilliant in front of them. He gets that vibe. I know it's because teams are coming out. The teams we're playing in Europe, especially away from home, are coming on to us, and that suits them perfectly. They're like an arrowhead, the three of them, just going right through these on-rushing teams. But I don't know if he's becoming like Brahim Hemdani when we got to the final in Manchester, where Walter can't find a place for him domestically, but he comes on in Europe and is brilliant. So it doesn't make you're like, why is this not happening? Like Chris Boyd was the opposite. He's scoring goals against everybody domestically, except Celtic, apart from that one game. But we just can't find the space for him. We can't afford him really as a luxury in Europe because he does so little off the ball, does so little outside the box. So I don't know if Diamandi is going to end up being that, but a part of me would actually prefer Hadji to come in and play at 10 tomorrow, because if we are camped outside the St Johnstone box, because if we're not camped outside the St Johnstone box, if their crazy Finnish manager, he's got earrings, if he's crazy enough to attack us, that should suit us. Diamandi should play and we should be ripping through them. The usual scenario, the nightmare scenario for Rangers is we're camped outside the opposition box domestically and we can't get through them. Hadji, I think, is tailor-made for that, because his lack of pace doesn't come into it, but his quick thinking, his skills, the passes he can see are absolutely brilliant. So maybe there's a change in there. Maybe, you've got Balogun due to come back in for Proper if it's going to be more physical. Big Proper is a man that obviously the manager is sticking by and been proven right in the European arena anyway. But we'll see what happens. I'll do a wee post-match reaction after that, folks. I'll try to get it a bit shorter. I'm taking up too much of your time these days. But yeah, I'm stupidly kind of looking forward to this game tomorrow. Hoping Rangers are going to break their duck domestically away from home. Or obviously we won. Well, the only other game we've won domestically away from home was in Tayside against Dundee United. So I'm quoting our Wally earlier. So hopefully that's a good omen for this game. But I just want to end with a wee word for any of the Bears that were harassed or messed about by the gendarmes, by the police and the stewards over in Nice. Hope he's okay. I hope everybody get out of there without too much damage inflicted. I've been in that scenario before. That's when Rangers fans get slagged by fans of other clubs. Oh, they're badly behaving. I mean, I've been involved in bother in the past. There's no two ways about it, but it's not always been our fault. And I'll always remember being the first time we played in Villarreal. I went to the Champions League last 16 game. I went to that over there, and it was a beautiful trip, a really lovely trip. But I remember being in the back streets outside the wee corner away end as it was, and didn't have that extra tier behind the goal that they had the last time we went to Villarreal. It was El Madrigal at that point, and they've got the big mural of the yellow submarine outside there, and the stewards and the police were scum, absolute scum. Just leathern boys randomly as they're trying to get in through the turnstile, showing them their tickets and all that, and just deciding to batter them. Guys getting battered across the leg with the big batons and what have you. And I remember I'd had a few drinks, as you do in European trips, and there was the big horses, wee men on big horses, kind of charging us basically. And it was just instinctive. Turned round as this wee guy, and he was pushing into folk with hot, and I went to kind of, no go for him, but say something or whatever. I was half pissed in that. And it was an older fella, an older Rangers fan, just grabbed me. But he's like, "No, big man, no." He says there's women. There was a few women in that about, and kind of younger fans. He's saying we just stand here, and just let them carry on. And it was basically protecting women and children. Just use yourself as a kind of human shield, what have you. It's standard. I've only been a handful of away trips to the continent, but it's Robocops everywhere. They've all got the gear on, the riot gear. I remember going into Valencia that day, the airport, and just the cops are out standing outside, just looking at you like they hope you do something. They've got guns and shields and the riot gear and all that. So I've experienced that kind of thing. Total sympathy for you, but the best way to react to that is just to feel the love for Rangers, to feel the pride, because that's what my heart yearns for now, is love and pride. Yeah, I'm bringing King into it. I'm bringing King into it, and His Majesty. His Majesty's Foreign Office should prosecute these bastards, do everything they can to sort it out diplomatically, and if not, we'll just fucking invade. But Rangers did the business on the park for us the other night. I hope they do it again tomorrow in the Côte d'Ité side. And that's enough from me, Trips. Hope everybody get back from Nice safe and sound. And you did us proud, just like the team did. Let's hope it continues.